today I'm joined by SCU.
SCU!
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Hell of an interview.
Because we always end with that. So
That's right.
Probably should have said that up front. I apologize.
We have nowhere to go. We have nothing
It's
else
your
to say.
show.
That's all we can say.
So how are you guys tonight?
Thrilled to be here.
I'm drunk. Don't tell anybody. I mean, we haven't wrestled yet, so.
I don't think that'd be pretty safe for us.
But in his defense, that is part of his pre-match ritual.
Yeah.
He likes to drink. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, part of it's oxycodone, and some of it's just vodka. So.
At this point, it's just getting him back to his baseline.
Right,
So
yeah.
it's a baseline.
So it's not really a bad thing.
I'm lying.
No, we're great. We're in SoCal.
100% sober.
We're in
Do not
SoCal.
drink and wrestle. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're great.
It's good to be in SoCal.
It's good to be in SoCal.
Sorry, as I touch your knee.
It's all right.
So what made you two decide to add a third member? You're already forming tag team.
Well, we were both tired of falling down.
We needed someone very athletic and handsome and talent, and no, we had the at the time the 6-man titles were becoming of importance, and we had been talking about it, about adding a third, and our friend Scorpio Sky had started recently coming around Ring of Honor at the time and impressed everybody there like we knew he would, and it just clicked one day. We said, he's our guy. He would be perfect. And, we've been friends for a decade plus, and we know we can go in the ring. It was just a matter of if the chemistry was going to click with the three of us, and
I actually
it did instantly.
remember the day and the discussion with the person in charge at Ring of Honor. And it was like, after he had that match in Philadelphia, Scorpio wrestled in a 4-on-4 where he was on the team with a lot of younger guys, and he was wrestling against the Bullet Club that night. To the point, and it went so well for him that Nick Jackson in the ring said we should hire Scorpio Sky on the live microphone in the ECW arena.
Yep.
We should hire Scorpio Sky. And I was talking to the person who makes those decisions, and he literally said, man, if we just had a spot for him, I'd hire him. And I literally said, why don't you just make him our third? And it didn't even occur to me to make him my third until the point was, if we could add a spot for him, we would hire him. And I thought, oh, well, we've been looking for a third this whole time. Scorpio, who I didn't, and this was before SCU was a thing too. It wasn't even an idea of, oh, let's get another Southern California wrestler with us. It was a matter of, oh, he's really good. He needs a spot. We need a third. Let's make it happen. And that was what happened.
Now he's our first. I'm our
Now
third.
he's our number one, yeah.
And I'm our third. See how
I'm
that happened?
really-
He
yeah.
leapfrogged me, man.
So it just became perfect. Like in that moment, you're like, Scorpio's great. It's
Yes,
going well.
yes, and we had no idea that he would personally become as close to us as he had. I mean, we knew professionally how good he was, and we had wrestled him. I mean, Frankie knew him way more professionally than I had. I had wrestled him a few times in the past, but immediately, like within 1 or 2 weekends together, we realized, oh,
He's just like
he's
us. He's just like us.
Really one of us,
And you can
this
take
is
that however
really
you
gonna
want, but yeah.
gel super
Yeah.
fast.
Since becoming a trio, what has been the best part of getting to work together?
Just this SCU phenomenon, really. Just just the way everything happened. Just really happened organically. Just the name and just the SCU, and of course the biggest part of it is the bits that appear on BTE. Doing those and traveling the country, basically the stuff that you don't see, the stuff outside of the ring. Personally, for me, that's the best part of it, being on the road with my best friends and my buddies. The stuff in the ring is great because we've had some classic matches and matches I'm very, very proud of and that I've been blessed to be a part. But just the camaraderie, just to have another lifelong brother to be on the road with, to be doing the BTE bits, to be doing stuff like the Jericho cruise and going overseas, all this stuff, it just makes it so much more fun. Being a part of All In, all of that.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, just riding up and down the road in the van, and just, that's where you really bond and you come up with so many good ideas of things. And, our bits on BT was born in the van, our name was born in the van. So many things just come from us traveling mile after mile after mile, not just in the van, I should say, that's just an expression, but at airports and going town to town.
We don't have a specific van.
Right.
It's not like the Mystery Machine, like Scooby and Fred and those guys.
I was going to say that, but I couldn't remember the name of the van. Okay, yeah. So I mean, just being on the road together, and that's where you come up with so much, and going town to town and hating every place we go that's not Southern California.
Right.
Yeah, that was the easy part. That came naturally.
Yeah, that was just kind of natural. It was just us being us, just ranting.
Absolutely.
Especially me. I can rant.
Yeah, this is
Frankie
true.
rants.
So what was was your guys' reaction to finding out that "This is the worst town I've ever been in" shirt was going to be sold in Hot Topic?
Joy.
Yeah, it was super cool, like elation. Yeah, again, it's one of those things. If you would have told me that I would have a shirt with my partners in Hot Topic, and the shirt would just basically say, "This is the worst town I've ever been in," when I spent countless hours coming up with designs, coming up with logos, coming up with catchphrases, and basically a shirt that just says, "This is the worst town I've ever been in," would catch fire, I wouldn't have believed you. So I was thrilled. I know it was special for all of us because we all, at one point, probably went into a Hot Topic. I bought a lot of concert shirts there back in the day, bought wrestling shirts at Hot Topic. So it was one of those full circle moments that I really tried to, take in and appreciate. I know you had a moment like that at the mall you used to shop at.
Oh yeah. The thing is too is when obviously the Bullet Club and those shirts got so popular in Hot Topic, I remember that was a goal of mine. I was saying, man, I would love to one day have a shirt in Hot Topic. Like one day I just want to get to the point where I can do that. And I remember specifically saying that at the beginning of 2018. It was kind of one of my goals, and it was a very far outlandish goal. And then fast forward, obviously everything happens with being the elite and us people actually appreciating our misery of being in all these places that we really wouldn't want to be. And next thing you know, it's This is the worst town is in Hot Topic. And I did have a moment like that because you flash back to 1998. I was just a kid and I bought my first wrestling t-shirt from actually the first Hot Topic, which was in the Montclair Plaza. And then here we are 20 years later, 2008, I went back to that exact same store and I bought my own R t-shirt, which was just, man, that's what you dream about, full circle.
Speaking of worst towns, what would you say has truly been the worst town you've been in?
We have a saying, they're all tied. They're all tied. There's SoCal, and then they're all tied for last. Yep. We recently had a pretty rotten experience in Toronto. Toronto was high up on the list.
Yeah.
At least it's fresh in my mind, so it's high up on the list. And,
New York, when I got patted down for 48 minutes because my shaving cream container was slightly too big, I guess. That was a pretty bad experience. The guy with the rubber glove was surprisingly gentle, though.
Yeah, he was very personal.
We sat there and watched this whole thing, and it was Scorp's a much more mild-mannered guy.
We're going to celebrate the anniversary with that guy in a couple of months.
Yeah, no kidding.
That'll be fun.
I think,
That'll be fun.
Call me.
There's a couple. It's usually whatever town we're in. It's not SoCal, but the ones that are freshest in my mind was for me Toronto.
Any place that has snow is bad. Any place, even though it's raining here, it rains so infrequently here. Every place else with rain is stinky.
Yeah,
This place with rain, it's like, I'd still rather be here than any other place.
It's SoCal rain, so it's not really
exactly. It's not real rain.
Not really that bad.
It's magical rain.
It's like cotton candy.
Right, it is.
So, since the three of you have been on the road together, has there been any weird or crazy fan experiences or funny fan experiences?
The ones that we can actually talk about.
Stuff I don't want the guilty parties to feel. I don't want the guilty parties.
I mean, we get a lot of requests. Obviously, for people to wanting us to be on tape saying that this is the worst guy I've ever met, and just stuff like that.
Ridiculous.
Or people. Or we've had a lot of people actually send us videos or tweet us videos. Like one guy, I think it was in the Himalayas or something, and he's just cutting a promo to nobody, but he's using our shtick, or people will wear our shirt and they'll be in Milan, Italy, or Paris, France, in front of the Eiffel Tower, basically doing one of our bits, which is really cool to see.
We haven't had it too bad as far as fan experiences go. They've all been pretty cool. I mean, the biggest thing, which is a huge positive, is we kind of started All In weekend is just wherever we go, the fans, you just hear the echoing SCU.
A lot of SCUs in our face. Yeah,
so
a lot of SCUs in our face.
Anytime we're in a town where
it's like a never-ending game of Marco Polo.
Yes.
Right.
Everybody yelling SCU at us.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's
like the Ric Flair rule without the chop.
Right.
Right.
So.
As a group or individually, what has been your favorite match with Red Bull?
Easy for me. All In against the Briscoes. All In weekend itself was my favorite show I've ever been a part of, and it was really, really special to see the production and everything, and how the fans jumped on board and followed a vision that people very close to us had. And so to be a part of the show and have a great match, unfortunately, CD wasn't a part of our match, but he was having another spectacular match himself against Stephen Amell. So really just, all of us in those 2 matches were really, really special for me personally.
Yeah, starting recently and going backwards, certainly All In, just that whole weekend. The electricity in the crowd was something like I've never experienced before. That was great. We had a really fun and pretty dangerous ladder match recently. Of course, one of my favorites is the ladder match Chris Daniels and myself had with the Young Bucks and the Motor City Machine Guns. I've had a lot of very memorable matches with Chris and I against teams like Red Dragon and going back to, teams like Kurt Angle and AJ Styles. But yeah, definitely recently, All In was just, it's probably my fondest memory of being in the wrestling business 21 years in.
I'm going to go different, quick little dark horse match. The last match we were actually probably bad guys in was when we won the 6-man titles from the Young Bucks and Adam Page in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I felt like that was like the high point for us as a team, and it was a culmination of a long feud with the Bullet Club at that point. And I felt like finally getting those titles and showing the world that we were the best trio in professional wrestling. I thought that was a big night for us. And unfortunately, the reign didn't last long, but it didn't matter to me because at that point we started to get into the groove of what SCU is now. And so, like, the difference between us winning those belts and once we lost those belts, it's night and day. I mean, we're a completely different team.
It's so many good matches, I forgot about that one.
Me and the bad guys, that was probably the last time that we were actually really bad guys. And I feel comfortable being a good guy, but, like, really my jam has always been being a bad guy and being the antagonist. And I felt like we did it really well that night against those guys.
That was a great one. Yeah.
So when traveling on the road, what do you guys like to do to keep yourself distracted or busy?
Definitely.
Frankie likes to work out as early as humanly possible.
Oh, God.
Sometimes in the 5 or 6 a.m. hour.
I have a theory that you get up and you get it done and you have energy, you've already have a sense of accomplishment, you've done something.
He's right except for the energy. Like, I'd never have the energy at the end of it.
Oftentimes, Chris Daniels and I will room together, and I have a very loud, very heavy metal alarm that goes off.
Terrifying. It's as if we're being bombarded by B-1 bombers.
I mean, yeah, we all, we'll all
like, get in the bunker now or die. That's the loudest.
We'll all usually find a gym and usually train. If we have the rare, like, completely off day, if we have, say, a travel day and we don't wrestle until the next day, usually the protocol is us and usually the Young Bucks. We'll find a movie theater. We like to see a movie on the road. Cracker Barrel is always a frequent stop. Depending on what part of the country in, Wawa is a frequent stop. So we kind of have like our routine, depending on where we are in the country, that we know what we're going to do.
Yeah, and BTE. We're always doing being the elite. In our free time, whatever time we have when we're not actually in the ring or in our hotels or sleeping. We're always like. It always seems like we're shooting something or doing something or talking about doing something. We kind of never stop as far as like the way our minds work, and we all love what we do so much that even if we're not actually in the ring doing it, we're still talking about, well, what about this and what about that, and come up with ideas, and that's why we're so great.
Yeah, with the bits, it's it used to just be us talking about a town, and then it evolved into. Well, let's start going to historical landmarks.
Yeah.
So let's go to Madison Square Garden. Let's go to the Alamo. Let's go to the Grand Ole Opry. Let's go run the steps in Philly where the art museum is. Let's buy Rocky Balboa sweatsuits. So it's really evolved. So now we're kind of going out of our way and like planning our day around, okay, we got to go to the Grand Ole Opry at this time, and then we got to go to the building at this time. So that occupies a lot of time, but it's fun. It's fun being on the road doing that stuff.
Expect to become as popular as you did, and did you think that the SCU chant would blow up?
Of course. Oh God. No, seriously. No, we did. We really didn't. It's crazy. When I first joined them, obviously they were two very established stars. Mm-hmm. So me personally, it was finding that way to stand out, to where I'm not just like, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and the other guy. I wanted to actually be their partner and not like, just a lackey or some guy they went and got that messed up their whole thing. So I really wanted to work hard to stand out and really catch up to them as far as notoriety and
It helped that
popularity.
he's better than we are.
Stop.
That, yeah,
Like,
super
more
athletic and yeah.
wildly handsome.
Yeah.
Look at that smile. Like
know.
it's ridiculous. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I like hanging out with
that's
these
true,
guys
yeah.
because they always build me up so much, which is fantastic. So no, and so we just started doing what we do, and it was completely organic, which we've said a few times. Everything that we've done has just has been natural. It's been us, and I'll never forget the moment that we realized that this SCU thing has really taken off, because we did a show in New York at the Hammerstein. And this was maybe 2 or 3 weeks after we started doing our worst town bits on Being the Elite. And it was like a gauntlet match. And I remember specifically because something happened production-wise and our music didn't even hit when we were gonna go out. And we were just like, all right, forget it, let's just go. And we all started sprinting to the ring. And the moment we went out, it was like this insane ovation from the crowd. And they all started chanting, SCU, SCU. And we were still bad guys at the time. And I don't know how they felt about it, but I was kind of looking around and looking at them like, you hearing this?
Yeah.
What's going on here? And that's when we kind of knew, like, okay, we have something here.
And then All In Weekend just solidified that, because like we couldn't go anywhere in the hotel without SCU. And like we were told during the actual event at the hotel, they had viewing parties, that there was like dueling SCU chants across the bar, and just one person would say it and it was like a ripple effect, and just everybody would just start saying it. So it was cool. And all week, and just anytime we walked by, people were just yelling it in our face. It's a good problem to have. I don't mind it, trust me. So those 2 moments, I think, were when we realized, wow, we might have something.
Definitely didn't see it coming like that.
And finally, what does it mean to be a wrestler right now to you guys? Like with everything that's going on with AEW and All In.
I feel like there's never been more opportunities to do different things for professional wrestlers than there is now. And I actually said this in the locker room to Frankie earlier today. Historically speaking, it's always sort of followed what has happened with the World Wrestling Federation or World Wrestling Entertainment. If World Wrestling Entertainment was popular, then there was a trickle-down effect to all of professional wrestling, independent wrestling, where all of a sudden there was that popularity. But this moment now is the first time that, and I've been wrestling for 26 years now, this is the first time I've ever seen where independent wrestling got popular, and as a result, there's been a rise in popularity in WWE. And I mean, the situation now with All Elite Wrestling becoming a factor in professional wrestling, the popularity of New Japan and the popularity of Ring of Honor, to the point where they sell out Madison Square Garden, which is an unheard of feat for someone that's not World Wrestling Entertainment. Even the resurgence of a company like Impact, who had seen hard times and are now making their way back up. Like that, I feel like this is the best time in the world to be a professional wrestler, because there's so many avenues that you can travel.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate that, especially guys like Chris and myself and Sky, we kind of still have that 1 foot in the old school, 1 foot in the new, because I broke in 1998 and the business was, it was only 21 years ago, but the business was very, very different. I'm sure Chris can tell you that even 5 years before that, it was very different. It was very protected. Even trying to find a wrestling school was difficult. Like, that wasn't even a thing. What's a wrestling school? I mean, there's you had to like do your research and do your due diligence, and it was very, they were very particular on who they let in, and now it's cool. And then so still, knowing how difficult it was to come in and knowing how protected the business is, and now seeing the curtain pulled back and seeing all the opportunities that are available, I'm happy I'm still around. I'm happy I've continued to live. I just stayed alive. That's all I needed to do.
Alive, JSA. Yeah, it's a great time to be a professional wrestler. Just to kind of elaborate on that, when I got in 2002, 2003, a guy like me didn't have a shot really, because all you heard about was like, if you weren't 6'2", 6'3", 260 pounds, they weren't even gonna look at you. And that was just kind of how it was. And now flash forward, most of the really big stars are our size or around our size. And not only that, but there's so many great places to work with WWE, with AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and the indies are booming so strong. You can get out there on the indies and you could actually make a living and really master your craft. And so I think there was a time where I thought that I got into the business in the wrong time, the wrong era, and now I feel like it was perfect. Everything is just coming together as it should. This is one of the best times, if not the best times ever, to be in this business. Now that doesn't mean no talent, guys. You jump in here like it's going to be easy, because
Yeah, no kidding.
yeah.
This guy hates you if you have no talent.
Scorpius guy hates everybody.
Nicest guy in the world. He hates you all.
Thank you guys so much.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
SCU.
SCU.
SCU later.